And coming to the maintenance phase, so the pain stimulus is from nasal cavity, goes to the trigeminal nerve to the brainstem and thalamus, sensory cortex, and from the sensory cortex the sympathetic system is activated and we are getting the hemodynamic effect. So nasal cavity and trigeminal nerve can be blocked with the local anesthesia packing or sphenopalatine ganglion block. The posterior end of the middle turbinate we can block the sphenopalatine ganglion. The brainstem, thalamus, sensory cortex and sympathetic system can be managed with anesthetic agents like propofol, desflurane, and thalamus is managed with remifentanil and fentanyl. And sympathetic system effects, we can use beta blockers or vasodilators like SNP or NTG. So, we have to ensure that the anesthesia depth is adequate and then only we have to go for vasoactive drugs. Otherwise, there is a possibility of awareness. And coming to dexmedetomidine, it is lot of reports are there telling that it is an excellent intraoperative hemodynamic control, but it is not a classical anesthetic. It has no action on thalamus, and analgesic action is also through the spinal mechanism. But it prevents a sympathetic outflow. So, more or less in a transnasal surgery, its effect is like a beta blocker. So, it has an unfavorable neurophysiological effect intracranially also, like it causes cerebral vasoconstriction. So, it is contraindicated in neurovascular disorders. So, we have to use dexmedetomidine like a beta blockers only. So, we have to ensure adequate depth of anesthesia with other drugs, and we can use dexmedetomidine as an adjuvant. So, it is not acting trigeminal, not action, no action on brainstem, not acting on thalamus, not acting on sensory cortex, acts on only on the sympathetic system. Coming to muscle relaxant, there is intense surgical stimulus and rapidly changing fluid status. So, there is unpredictable recovery from the relaxant. So, neuromuscular monitoring if available should be used, or instead of giving boluses we can use as an infusion, and it is stopped at hemostasis. So, this is endoscopic surgery, it is going on with multiple instruments. We think that we are operating in the nasal cavity, but any sudden jerk or patient movement, it can directly injure the brainstem or any vascular structure, because although it is in the nasal cavity, we should remember that it is very proximal to the vital structure like brainstem and major vessels. So, we have to ensure that the muscle relaxant are given in adequate dose. Coming to steroids, we have to do preoperative assessment. If the axis is normal, the patient itself will maintain. If the axis is high, the cortisol level is high, no need of intraoperative steroids, because the patient is already on high steroids inside the body. If there is steroid deficiency, we have to mimic the physiology. We have to give extra dose for surgical and anesthesia stress. Around 50 to 100 milligram hydrocortisone single dose at induction is sufficient, because most of the surgeries won't cross 6 hours.